Okay, this is question 34 of chapter 21. I should have announced it last time we did chapter 21, question 33, and the reason for doing this is to fill in the blanks of what you don't see here, which is the fair market value. So let's do that, and then maybe you want to try the problem on your own and then come back and watch the rest of the video. So, of course, cash is cash. Just like the last problem, the receivables value is $60,000. And the value of the land is $120. Now you might want to try the problem now that you know that and come back. Okay, so welcome back. Here's how this problem works out. I'm not going to go through all the introductory remarks I made in the last, but I'm going to apply the same theory. And so if you don't follow what I'm saying, go back and watch that and then come back and see if you can follow this. Again, the concept is compare the true economics of what's going on versus the numbers that we have here. So the economics in this case is that last time she sold her 1/3 interest for $120. This time she just sells it for $100,000. So let's see what she got. Same issue. Her basis is $90,000, and if she sold it for $100, it means that at the end of the day, our gain should not be any less than $10,000. That's what it means. The gain should not be any less than $10,000. Question is, what kind of gain do we have? How do we recognize this? In the last session, what we saw is that her share of the ordinary income from the hot assets is, her basis in that is $20,000, meaning she's getting $20,000 for it, but it's a hot asset. It has not been recognized as income yet, and this amount has to be included in ordinary income at some point in time because it is an ordinary income asset. And the reason why she's getting 100, let's do that. Let's see, why is she getting 100? Well, she's getting 100. That's an interesting question. Her share of the cash is 60. That's her share of the cash. Her share of the receivables is 20. And we'll do a sort of hot asset color there. That's kind of cool. The land, we'll do a kind of a land color here. Her share of the land is 120. So the economics of the deal is her basis, not her basis, but her fair market value should be 120. That's the fair market value of what she owns. Why did she sell for 100? Well, maybe the answer to that question is Lord only knows, because she shouldn't have sold it for less than 120, but she did. She did. The reality is it was worth 120. Check, check. But the other reality is she sold it for 100. So since she sold it for 100, it means that she's only going to have a gain of 10. What did we say? Yeah, it's only 10. So let me erase that. Her gain is only 10 because her basis is really 90. So she's only going to have a net gain of 10. All right, fine, a net gain of 10. But she cannot, that's her net gain. She cannot, not. That's emphasizing it. She cannot not recognize the hot asset ordinary income. That must be recognized. That's why we did that in pink. So let's go back to that. This must be recognized as ordinary income to that number, to exactly that number. That's the rule. So and this is a full, complete disposition. She sold it. She's out of it. We can't assign basis to any assets and wait for the sale of those assets for recognition. We have to figure out this right now. So since she must recognize $20,000 of ordinary income from those hot assets, well, let's write that down. There's ordinary income. However, our total gain should be, as we already see, not more than $10,000, which means that whatever is here to make up the full transaction to get to a $10,000 gain, it has to get us to 10. So we're at 20. To get to 10, we can't be adding anything. We must be taking something away. And the way to take something away from this 20 is to recognize a $10,000 loss. But that can't be an ordinary loss because it just can't be. So it's going to be considered a capital loss. And that would be that. Hold on. So back to live action here. It means that in order to get to the net 10, because we must not fail to recognize this $20,000 of ordinary income representing the receivables, we're going to have to include a capital loss to get to a total net of 10. And is that one of the answers there? Indeed, it is. It's answer D. $10,000 capital loss, $20,000 ordinary income. Not easy. I'm not saying this is easy, but what I am saying is that if you look at what happened, what's the true economics of the deal, and where are those hot assets, the answers seem to find themselves. All right, let's see if there's another question like this on the horizon. Question 36. Okay. Question 36 looks like it's similar. Question is, do I have... Yeah, okay. So let's see. Well, I'm looking for the actual, so we can see what it is. Okay, so let's see what the fair market values really are. Fair market values turn out to be cash is 180, of course. Receivables in this case is similarly 60. Oh, I see this is similar to the case before, so we're going to have some new calculations. So that's a hot asset. Now we've got equipment. We add equipment to this scene here, and that's fair market value. Turns out is 50. And the land is still 120. Try one more problem here, see if we can do it. Okay. This question doesn't require too many calculations, I see. It just asks which of the assets are considered hot assets, and the information that they give you regarding the equipment is that the cost was 100. If the net book value basis is now 40, that means we've depreciated it by 60,000. Depreciation on equipment is section 1245, which is a hot asset because it has to be picked up as ordinary income. Why? That's what you learned back in the first BMGT 323 class, where you were supposed to. Take a look at chapter 11 in there. And so also the receivables, clearly because its basis is 0 and has value means it's a cash basis. So we've got the look for the answer where accounts receivable in 1245 are listed, and that's D, and that answers that question. All right, that's cool. So we're rolling like along. So let's see if we got another one if we can accomplish quickly. Oh, there we go. Number 38 looks to be one of these. And let's take a look, see if we can do it. And then we'll take a break. Fair market value, let's see what we got. It's pretty much, new problem. Oh boy, new problem. New numbers, new problem. 80,000 is the cash. The inventory this time. Wow. Looks like it's 180. I'm trying to read it from the cloud. 180. Land investment has $100,000 fair market value. Okay. Let's see. That gives us a total of 360 of the value by fair market value compared to the basis of 300. Just trying to get the economics. You see what I'm doing? Taking a look at what do we got. All right, so we got a 50% partner. What happens? She's going to sell her shares. That's complete disposition, complete liquidation, so to speak. And what does she get for it? She gets 60 of cash. She sells it and she gets 60 cash. She sells 1/2 of her interest. So she's only selling 25% of the company for 50,000. 60,000, I'm sorry. Just before this, her basis was 150, including 60,000 share of partnership liabilities. So the 150, her basis includes her share of the liability. So we got, in addition to getting cash for this deal, she's getting relieved of half of her liabilities because she's selling 1/2 of her interest. So she's going to get 60 in cash. Let's take a look again. Let's take a look at the economics. She gets 60 in cash. She gets relieved of half of her share of the liabilities, which is 30,000. So she's really getting a total of 90. That's what it looks like to me so far. And her basis on that, from a tax standpoint, is 75, half of that. So her true gain at this point for this share, this 25% interest in the overall deal, or 50% of what she owns, is a $15,000 economic gain. But now we got to figure out how to handle it for tax purposes, because we've got one of those hot assets. We'll color it with the hot asset color. We've got inventory. So on that note, it means we have to look and see what's her gain on the inventory, because we can't recognize less than her share of the gain on the inventory. So what did she sell? She sold 25% of everything that's in the entity. So let's take a look at 25%. 25% of the cash is, I need a calculator for this one. 25% of the cash is, that's easy, 20,000. Let's not do the hot acid color for that. Let's do it in the green color. She got cash at 20. Well, she didn't get cash at 20, but that's what she's selling. She's selling her share of the cash, her share of the land. Let's do that first. That's easy. That's 20,000 also, isn't it? No. Why would it be 20,000? It'd really be 25,000, because 25% is what she's selling. She's selling half of hers, or 25% of the whole. So the land, the value is 25. The value of the inventory, that's 25% of the inventory, so that's 45,000. Let's do that, the right color for that. The value of the inventory is 45. So let's see how the economics work out. She's selling everything, or the value of everything she's selling really works out to 90,000. That's the value. Is that what she sold it for? Yes, it is. See? This is what she got. Cash plus relief of debt, and that was the value. So she made an okay deal. It's not like one of the problems where he sold at a loss. She made an okay deal. Now, what kind of gain does she have? That's what we want to know. She has a $15,000 gain overall, but she's got to recognize the ordinary income portion of the hot asset, and what she sold was worth 45. It has a basis of 60 times 25%. 60 times 25% is 15. So she sold 45. That's the value. Her basis in it is 16 of, it's 25% of the 60. That's up here. That's the inside basis, but that's her basis because she goes to the inside base. So she got a $30,000 ordinary income she must recognize. So in her overall scope of things, she must recognize $30,000 of ordinary income. Well, the economics is she's only got a $15,000 gain. So again, she's going to recognize $30,000 of ordinary here. Our goal is to get to a net $15,000 gain. And to do that, we're going to have to subtract something. We're going to have to subtract 15,000. And the only way we can subtract, we can't subtract an ordinary loss. It's going to have to be a capital loss. And so we have something like that as an answer. Yep, we do. Number A. Okay, I hope you see how the economics work out here. Yeah, she's got a $15,000 gain, but she must recognize the ordinary income of that hot asset. And since she must do that, in order to get to net 15, we got to create a capital loss in the deal. That's how it works. All right. If you're not having fun, then go back and do it again, because this is real fun. Okay.